Welcome back, YouTube. Sensei Domino here. Welcome to the Spine Ticks After Party. I've got quite a bit of stuff to share with you tonight. I had a fantastic mail week. I got 2 items in from fellow YouTubers. I had 10 TTM returns, although one was a return to sender and another was a fail. I still had 8 successes. This is also the first time, even going back to when I was a kid, that I had 1 successful TTM return each day of the week, Monday through Saturday. So that was kind of a cool milestone to reach. I also picked up a minor purchase off of eBay this week that already came in, and I'll be sharing that. I also got, I guess, what you could consider a fan pack, although I think it might be a follow-up to a TTM fail that I had a couple weeks back. And I'll also be sharing an item that I purchased off of eBay probably about 5 weeks ago that came from Japan. I actually purchased several items from Japan, and I'll be sharing one of them with you tonight, and I'm super excited about it. Let's go ahead and get started. I'll start with the fan pack, I guess. This came from the Milwaukee Brewers. It says, "Dear Tony, hello from the Milwaukee Brewers. We appreciate you cheering us on this season. We hope you enjoy these stickers, the Milwaukee Brewers." And they sent me a little sticker pack. Nothing on the back, just blank back. That's kind of cool. I have sent several, I think 2 fan pack requests to the Brewers. I think I sent one late in July when I started doing the fan packs. And then I sent another one in September, late September, I think. And I haven't received anything from them up to this point. So I'm not sure if this is a fan pack request, or what's probably more likely is I sent a TTM request to Bob Uecker a couple weeks back, and I got a letter, I think it was 2 weeks ago, maybe last week, that said that Bob Uecker wasn't signing at this time, and they apologized and sent me my card back. And so I think this is probably more likely a follow-up to that. But either way, really cool to get these stickers from the Brewers. Thank you so much, Milwaukee Brewers. I really appreciate this. All right, moving on to the next one. I'll go ahead and start with the YouTuber mail. And this one comes from Cleveland, Ohio, from Reindeer Studios. And you might have seen this on some other YouTube channels over the last week. Super excited to see this. Mossy Claus, pitcher, Reindeer, Don Mossy. This is awesome. I love this. Thank you so much, Scott. If you haven't checked out Reindeer Studios, definitely go check out his channel. Scotty's an awesome guy, fantastic artist. I absolutely love his artwork. Definitely go check it out. You'll absolutely enjoy yourself over there. All right. Reindeer Studios, wishing you a very mossy Christmas because Happy New Year's was too obvious. Sensei, hey, I hope you're well and that you have an awesome Christmas. Keep being a superstar. Your pal, Scott. Thank you so much, Scott. Merry Christmas. I absolutely love this card. I'm going to get a top loader for that. And he also sent this really cool Larry Hughes autograph. I'm a pretty big fan of Larry Hughes. He's part of that absolutely loaded 1998 NBA draft class with Dirk Nowitzki, Vince Carter, Paul Pierce, Anton Jameson, Jason Williams. Just absolutely stacked. And Larry Hughes was part of that draft. I mean, I know the 84 draft and the 96 draft are probably the top 2 drafts of all time, but the amount of talent that came out of the 98 draft is probably a tier below those 2. And Larry Hughes was definitely one of the more talented people in that draft class, and really cool to get his autograph. Thank you so much, Scott. This is really cool. I absolutely love the Black Diamond series sets of cards. I just think they're really well made. So this is really cool. This is a 0304 Black Diamond with the awesome silver ink on it. So yeah, thank you so much, Scott. I really appreciate this. I hope you have a Merry Christmas as well. All right, next This is actually a contest win from probably a couple months back, and I've already opened this. This came from Pepino Man, another fantastic, legendary channel like Scott's channel. Um, I was watching Pepino Man's videos before I even got back into collecting. I actually bought my first card this month a year ago. Uh, Basically got me back into the hobby. I stopped collecting for the most part late 99, but I might have made a couple purchases in early 2000 and didn't make any purchases until December of last year. And I was watching Pepino Man's videos probably 3 years before I got back into collecting. He's incredibly entertaining. I absolutely love watching his content. If you haven't checked out Pepino Man, definitely go check out his channel. Anyway, he did a contest a couple months back, and if you don't know Pepino Man, he's part of the grounds crew of the LA Dodgers. And the LA Dodgers had the All-Star game this year. And he was able to pick up a couple of the baseballs from the All-Star game. And he did a contest where he gave away two baseballs. One was actually game used, and another was, I guess, batting practice or warm-up baseball. And I was fortunate enough to win one of them, and I chose the game-used baseball. And that is what is inside this box. And I opened it up, and I could not believe I was holding a baseball from the 2022 All-Star game. It's just absolutely incredible. I have nothing like this in my collection, and it will be a cherished item in my collection for as long as I live. And he sent a really cool Christmas card as well. Wishing you the happiest of holidays. Merry Christmas, Pepino Man. Thank you so much, Pepino Man. Merry Christmas. I hope you have a wonderful holidays as well, you and your family. And this right here is just absolutely incredible. Game used 2022 All-Star Game baseball with the All-Star Game stitching. Rob Manfred. Absolutely incredible. I can't believe I have something like this in my collection. I'm going to have to get a ball holder for this for sure. It'll be my next purchase. Very cool. Just think about the players that played in the All-Star game this year and which players might have had this ball in their hand for a couple seconds. Very cool. This is baseball history right here. Absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, Pepino Man. Your generosity is incredible. All right, next, let me go ahead and show you the minor pickup I made off of eBay. So in Dallas in the 80s and 90s, we had an indoor soccer team called the Dallas Sidekicks. And they had a player on their team called Tattoo from Brazil. And he was probably the best player in the league during that time. And I went to several Sidekicks game as a kid, and I'd never had a tattoo card. So just on a whim, I happened to look it up off of eBay. I was looking up tattoo rookie cards, and he had two cards in the Premier Edition, Premier Issue set that they made. I guess this is from, what is this, 87, 88. And he had been in the league for probably 3 or 4 years up to that point, but they didn't produce any cards for the league up to that point. But I found a couple of his rookie cards, and I decided to pick them up. They were dirt cheap. I think I got both of these for $1 shipped. So still kind of cool to get to for my collection. And I'm not spending much this month because of the holidays and whatnot. But for $1, yeah, picked up a couple tattoo cards from his rookie set, I guess. And this is from when he won the MVP. And he had a thing where he'd score a goal, he'd rip off his shirt, throw it into the stands, and then celebrate. And he was kind of, I mean, you know, a step below iconic, I guess, in the Dallas area. in the 80s. He was certainly a star. And so it's kind of cool to be able to get a couple of his cards into my collection. And I do think I have his autograph on a soccer ball somewhere. And here's the other one from the set. And these have a little bit of corner wear, probably more than I would like. But as cheap as they are, I'll have no problems picking up another copy of these. Still happy to get these regardless of the condition, because I have some fond memories of Dallas Sidekicks who are now defunct. But Tattoo and the memories of these Sidekicks game will definitely live on forever in my mind. And so very happy to get these cards for my collection. All right, on to the TTMs. Let's start with the bad news. So this is the fail from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And this was just a flat out fail. Now, he does charge for his autograph, so it was more or less I was taking a chance to begin with. But it was Mike Musina. And I actually sent 3 index cards. He only sent 1 back and then sent my 2 cards back unsigned. No reason given or anything like that. I think he's $10 per. And so, like I've done a couple of times, I just kind of took a shot and swing and a miss. But that's okay. Maybe after the holidays, I'll send that back out to him and $10 and try to get that autograph. This is the return to sender. This is Hoist Gracie. So I don't know what that says. Rancho Palos Verdes, California, I think. So if you're planning on sending to him at this address, return to sender. So that's a little disappointing. But I'll try to find his address somewhere else and send this off to him. All right, on to the successes. So this one comes from North Houston, Texas. Initials KA. And this didn't take much time at all. Probably about 12 days or so. Ken Aspromonte. Got his autograph on the 1960. Very nice. Right there. And 1961, I believe. Yep, 1961. And the 1958. 1958, I believe that's his rookie card. And so very happy about that. And he used my little pouch, which is always a good thing. Because I don't send these in top loaders. I top load them after I get them. So very happy to get these. Thank you so much, Mr. Aspromonte. I've got some cards out to his brother as well. Hopefully I get those back in the next couple of weeks. Very happy to get this one. All right. Next, and this one actually came in today. This one came from Orlando, Florida. JD. And that was the address on the back. I'm not sure if that's where I sent it. They had that address on the envelope. And they sent this little scan me thing. Thank you very much for the fan mail. Greatly appreciate the love and support. Over the last few years, I've been devoting a lot of time to my family, my charity, Johnny Damon Foundation, as well as the relaunch of my hydrogen beverage A-Game. Tag me at Johnny Damon on Instagram with your signed items to confirm you have received this. So that's kind of cool. And he signed 3 of 3. This is a 1994 Action Packed, kind of a minor league card. Playing for the Wilmington Blue Rocks. He signed that. And it's got that embossed, kind of raised sort of texture on the card. And I sent 2 of those, and he signed them both. And then also his 1996 Pinnacle Hardball Heroes. So very happy to get these back. Thank you so much, Mr. Damon. All right, next, this is from an actor I'm a pretty big fan of. Came from Phoenix, Arizona, SG, and he signed one of my 3 index cards. He did not sign these 2, but he signed this one. And looks like a giant marker. Tony, Steve Guttenberg, exclamation point. Steve Guttenberg. He was in the Police Academy movies, I think 1 through 4, maybe. Might have been in 5, I'm not sure. I think he was in 1 through 4. He was also in Cocoon. He was in Short Circuit. And so a lot of the movies that I grew up with, he was in. And so I'm a really big fan of Steve Guttenberg. He was also in 3 Men and a Baby, 3 Men and a Little Lady, I think. I think recently he was doing some sci-fi channel movies, Lavalantula or something like that. But very happy to get this. Big fan of his. So thank you very much, Mr. Guttenberg. And this was kind of a shot in the dark because he didn't have too many successes on Sports Card Forum. I think there was 1 success, so I kind of took a chance on that one. And apparently the address is good. All right. So this one right here from North Texas. And Cliff Harris. He signed all 3 of my cards. I think this is 77. Yeah, 1977. Sign that. He signed the 1978, I believe. Yeah, 1978. And this is 1976 Wonder Bread. So very cool to get these. Fantastic player. Thank you so much, Mr. Harris. I really appreciate this. These are awesome. All right. I think that took about 5 weeks. All right. This one got destroyed in the mail, and it was delivered to the wrong mailbox. This was actually delivered to my neighbor, and they were nice enough to bring it over. They usually do. But this is the first time that a TTM has gone to the wrong address. And it was absolutely pummeled. This thing was just crushed. And so the contents inside got damaged pretty badly, including the card. But it was still cool to get it, and it was a success. And this card is basically folded in half, but it is Bowling Hall of Famer Norm Duke on his rookie card. So it's a little disappointing that it kind of got folded in half. And it doesn't have a full-on crease, but it's, yeah, right across here. There's a clear indentation on the card. So a little disappointing, but he also signed my index cards. Norm Duke, Hall of Fame 09. I guess he didn't sign the third, but Tony, wishing you only the very best, Norm Duke. And these index cards aren't too bad. The card probably took the brunt of the damage. These have a little bit of a wave to it, but not a full-on crease or anything like that. I think these will be okay. And he really loaded up this questionnaire that I gave him, which is really kind of cool. I mean, this might be the most anybody's written for one of these. So, as I say quite a bit, if you wouldn't mind and have the time, I'd like to ask you a couple questions. What was the greatest moment of your career? He said, I have enjoyed many. Winning my 3rd major in a row was a wowie. The Grand Slam by winning U.S. Open was way cool. And, said, being lifted up by Big Wes at the PBA League this year after rolling his last shot was so terrific. And then he put the question number 2 at the bottom. Was there anyone that you tried to model your game after when you were young? And he said, I really enjoyed Gary Dickinson and Stefanich, along with Pappas as a kid. Later, Mike Miller and Chris Warren. And then he signed it Norm. So that was really cool. Like I said, I don't think anybody has put that much on one of these questionnaires, and he took the time, and I really appreciate that. It's just a shame that some of this kind of got damaged in the mail, but very appreciative of Mr. Duke. And his address is not on Sports Card Forum. I actually got a subscription for 1 month over at Star Tiger, and it is on there, and it's obviously valid. So I'll try to pick up another of his rookie cards, and maybe a year from now I'll try to send to him again and try to get that autograph. But very, very gracious of Mr. Duke to put all that stuff on that questionnaire. I really appreciate it. All right, next. This is another Hall of Famer, and there is no postmark or anything. They just slashed out the stamp. This is from another CH, not Cliff Harris, but another CH. And he also filled out the questionnaire, which is always cool, and used the pouch. And this is Hall of Famer Chris Hamburger. And he did put to Tony, Chris Hamburger, so he personalized it, but he put the Hall of Fame 2011 on there as well. And so this is the 74, I believe. Yeah, 74. And the 76, to Tony, Hall of Fame 2011, Chris Hamburger. And the 78, same thing, to Tony, Chris Hamburger, Hall of Fame 2011. And these look just like I sent them, which is always how you'd like to get them back. So, very happy that these came back completely unscathed. Actually, let me spread these out, let you get a look at them. And I will show you what he wrote. I kind of like what he wrote for the last one. So, what was the greatest moment of your career? First Pro Bowl. Who was the best player you ever played against? All of them. Which is true. I mean, you know, you're playing in the pros and everybody's good. So that was kind of cool to see. Certainly an honest answer, right? So thank you so much, Mr. Hamburger. I really appreciate that. Very happy to get that. Anytime you can get a Hall of Famer. All right. And this is kind of cool. I always like it when the players put their little personal address on the return envelope. And as you can see, this one comes from Norman Ullman, Hockey Hall of Famer. And I think it probably took about 3 weeks to come back. All right. For some reason, it looks like this is kind of pinched right here on the envelope, so it doesn't quite open. So those are kind of shoved in there. But what's interesting about this, I just realized this, is I actually put one of the international forever stamps on this envelope, and somehow he removed it and put a Canadian stamp on there, because I did send this to Canada. And so I don't know, looks like it says $1.30, and I think mine was $1.50 something. So I don't know that there was much of a difference, but you know, he probably knows better than I do what the postage is going to cost. So very cool to get that. And he did not use the little pouch, but the cards came back just fine. And here we go. Norman Ullman, Hall of Fame, 1982. I believe this is 1973, 74. Yep. Very cool. Put that right there. And then I think this is 72, 73. I like where he signed this one. Number 9, Hall of Fame, 1982. This is, 72, 73. Oop. Throwing cards everywhere. Very cool. And then I think this is the oldest one. This is, yeah, 7071. Norman Ullman, number 9, Hall of Fame, 1982. Such a nice signature. Look at that. And so very happy to get these 3 back. Hockey legend. Very cool. Thank you so much, Mr. Ullman. I really appreciate this. This is awesome. Autographs just look so good on vintage, don't they? All right, and the last one, and probably the biggest one of the week. This one comes from North Texas. BL. And he filled out the questionnaire, and the questionnaire is interesting too. I'll get to that in a minute. This comes from Hall of Famer Bob Lilly, Mr. Cowboy. He signed his 1970. Bob Lilly Hall of Fame 1980. And I believe this is 67 Philadelphia. Yeah, I think it's 67. It doesn't say on the back. But I think this is 67 Philadelphia. Bob Lilly Hall of Fame 1980. Very cool to get these. And the questionnaire is interesting. He actually taped it shut, which I haven't seen anybody do before, but very cool. So, what was the greatest moment of your career? He says, winning our first Super Bowl, Super Bowl VI, being chosen and inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. And he says, who was the best player you ever played against? He says, Jim Brown, running back, and Tom Mack, O-guard, Rams. Now, if you remember, I got a TTM back from Tom Mack 2 weeks ago, maybe. And Tom Mack said that the best player he ever played against was Bob Lilly. And Bob Lilly says the same thing about him. So that's really cool. They clearly have mutual respect for each other. And, getting both of these back and having both of them having the same answers, that's just kind of cool. So thank you so much, Mr. Lilly. I really appreciate these. Absolutely love them. Mr. Cowboy, legend. Very cool. All right, so those are my TTMs for the week. Now on to the item from Japan. I'm very excited to share this. Now, I made some notes for this because a lot of the Japanese baseball players I do not know a whole lot about. I know the biggest names, but I mean, there are even some Hall of Famers that I might know the name, but I knew nothing about. So I made sure to do a little bit of research and try to give you a little bit of something while I'm showing this off. So anyway, this is an entire uncut sheet. This is JBR 4 1960 Doyusha color 4-in-1 bromides. And there are 55 cards on the sheet. And if you look on the back, I guess you cut these out and you made like a deck of cards. Now, this card does have a little bit of damage. It looks like it kind of peels up right here on this corner. This corner right here has a clear little tear in it. And there are, let me see if I can see them in the light. So there is like a hairline crease right here. Another one down here. And another one right here. So it does have some issues, but, there can't be a whole lot of these out there. And so very happy to have kind of stumbled upon this. And I did purchase several items in the same lot. And I was fortunate enough to be able to get the auction, and this checked a lot of boxes. I guess over the last 2 or 3 months, I've wanted to pick up cards of Sadaharu O, Shigeo Nagashima, and Masaichi Kaneda, or Canada. And in this lot that I purchased, I was able to check all those boxes and then some, because there are several other Hall of Famers that I picked up in this lot. And so I'm sharing this one with you, and I have a couple others that I'll be sharing over the next couple weeks. But this one has the most cards, I guess, 55 cards. And so I wanted to start with this one. And it's got the biggest name on it as well. And so let me go ahead and get started. Now that I've shown you the full sheet, I'm going to kind of zoom down, give you a better look, move my wire out of the way, and kind of straighten up my... Hopefully that's not too bad. All right. And so we'll go from left to right across the sheet. So this guy right here is, and I'm sorry if I butcher some of these names, Kazuhisa Inao. And he is a Hall of Famer. He had a record of 276 wins, 137 losses, career ERA 1.98. He had 2,574 strikeouts. He was a two-time Triple Crown winner in 58 and 61. He was a two-time MVP in 1957 and 58. He won the Rookie of the Year in 1956. He was a three-time Japan Series champ in 56, 57, and 58. So back to back to back. 4 times he led the league in wins, 57, 58, 61, and 63. 2 times he had the best winning percentage in the league, 57 and 61. 5 times he was the ERA champ, 56, 57, 58, 61, and 66. 3 times he led the league in strikeouts, 58, 61, and 63. 5 times he was voted for the Best 9 award. And from what I understand, that's like the equivalent of like the Silver Slugger award, I guess. And he has several records. He had a record 42 wins in 1961, which is a national record. It's tied. He had 20 consecutive wins in 1957, which is a national record. He had 78 games played in 1961, which is a Pacific League record. He had a 1.06 ERA. That's lower than Bob Gibson's record in 1956, which is a Pacific League record and also a national rookie record. He did that his rookie year. He had 404 innings pitched in 1961. Think about that. I mean, you know, pitchers these days barely get anywhere close to 300. This guy pitched 404 innings, which is a Pacific League record. He had 11 wins in a single month, his rookie year, August 1956, which is a national record. He had 4 complete games in a single Japan series, 1958, which is also tied. It's tied for the record. He also had 4 wins in a single Japan series, which is 1958, those same complete games, which is a Japan series record, tied. And he had 11 career wins in the Japan series, which is also tied for the record. So he was an incredible player, probably one of the better pitchers in the history of Japanese baseball. All right, moving on to the next one. This one right here. This is Carlton Hanta. And he's actually from Hawaii. And he went to the University of Houston, which is my father's alma mater, which is kind of cool. Let me try to straighten that out a little bit. And he had a career batting average of 256, 21 home runs, 135 RBIs, and he played 5 seasons. And he also has another card on this sheet somewhere, but we'll get to that in a minute. This next one right here, this guy's an absolute legend. This is one of the guys that I was trying to pick up when I was looking when I actually found this lot. And so this is Shigeo Nagashima. I've also heard it pronounced Nagashima, but I think it's Nagashima. But either way, absolute legend, Hall of Famer. Career batting average of 305, 444 home runs, 2,471 hits, 1,522 RBIs. He was also a manager, and he had a record as a manager of 1,034 wins, 948 losses. He was an 11-time Japan Series champion, 61, 63, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, and 73. So they won every championship from 65 to 73. Talk about a dynasty. And he also won 3 more championships as a manager. He won in 94, 96, and 2000. As a player, he was the Rookie of the Year in 1958. He was a 5-time Central League MVP, 61, 63, 66, 68, and 71. 17 times he was voted for the Best 9 award. Basically, his entire career, he won the Best 9 award, which means he was the best at his position. He was a 4-time Japan Series MVP, 63, 65, 69, and 70. And he won what was called the Japan Professional Sports Grand Prize in 1971. And so this guy right here, Shigeo Nagashima, absolute legend. Super happy to finally have an item of his in my collection. All right, moving on to the next one. This is Hideshi Miyake. And he is not a Hall of Famer, but he had a pretty long career. He played 15 years, batted .252 with 100 home runs, 983 hits, and 376 RBIs. All right, moving on to the next one. This guy right here. This is a Hall of Famer. This is Tetsuya Yaneda. And like I said, he was a Hall of Famer. He had a win-loss record of 350 wins, 285 losses. He played 22 seasons. He had a 2.91 ERA, 64 career shutouts, 3,388 strikeouts. He had 5,130 innings pitched. That's incredible. He was the 68 Pacific League MVP. He was an 8-time 20-game winner, 14-time All-Star. His nickname was either the gasoline tank or the human tank because he was so tough. He had the most wins and the most strikeouts in history by a right-handed pitcher, second on both lists to Masaichi Kaneda. So certainly one of the greatest pitchers in the history of Japanese baseball. And that's this guy right here, Tetsuya Yaneda. Okay, moving on to the next one. This is Kiyoshi Doi, and he had a .215 batting average with 23 home runs, 508 hits. I had a hard time finding any information about him, but yeah, it's still kind of a cool looking card. I like that background with the red in the background. Very cool. All right, moving on to the next one. This is Isao Sugamaki. And this was another guy that I kind of had a hard time finding any information about. But he had a win-loss record of 0 wins, 5 losses, 4.10 ERA with 43 strikeouts. So I don't know how many years he played, but it doesn't seem like he played very long. All right, moving on to the next one. Let me go ahead and turn the page. So that is right here. This is Shigeru Fujio. He had a 12-year career. He batted .253 with 74 home runs, 346 RBIs, and 625 hits. Okay, moving on to the next one. This is another Hall of Famer. This is Yoshinori Hirose. He played 22 years. He had a .282 batting average with 131 home runs, 705 RBIs, 2,157 hits. He had 596 stolen bases, which is second all time. And he was the MPB batting champ in 1964. So he was probably one of the better stolen base men in the history of Japanese baseball. Okay, so this one right here is Carlton Honta, and I talked about him earlier. And as you can see, this is basically the same photo. They just zoomed in on this one, and this is kind of a further out picture. And it looks like they kind of changed the tinting or something on it, kind of changed up the color a little bit. But yeah, so that's Carlton Honta. All right, this last one right here, the one with the kind of the tear in it, he is actually a Hall of Fame manager. And a really, really, really good one, too. Osamu Mihara. Like I said, he was a Hall of Famer. He had a win-loss record of 1,687 wins, 1,453 losses, and 108 ties. He's second all-time in wins. He's tied for the most losses. And he actually managed the most games as a manager, 3,245 games. So probably the most prolific manager in the history of Japanese baseball. So a little disappointing that's the one with the tear in it, but what can you do? All right, so moving on to the second row. This right here is Hideshi Miyake, and this is also a repeat. This is the close-up of this one right here. So Hideshi Miyake. It's kind of interesting how they might have multiple cards on here, but in a lot of cases they'll use the same photo. They'll just have like a close-up and then one a little further back, and then they do change kind of the tint of the card. Like this, it looks like he kind of has a red cap. Right here, it kind of looks like he has a bluish cap. So it's kind of interesting. All right, this next one right here, this is Jack Landra, and he's also from Hawaii. And he played 7 years, batted .243 with 37 home runs, 245 RBIs, and 561 hits. All right, moving on to the next one, and this is another guy that I was trying to get an item of, a card of, and this is Masaichi Kaneda. And he is the greatest pitcher in the history of Japanese baseball, hands down. And he's obviously a Hall of Famer. He had a win-loss record of 400 wins, 298 losses. He's the only person to have 400 wins in the history of the sport in Japan. He had a 2.34 ERA, 4,490 strikeouts. He won the Japanese Triple Crown in 1958, 14-time 20-game winner, 3-time Eiji Sawamura Award winner. He won in 56, 57, 58. Sorry if I butchered that. 10-time strikeout leader, 3-time wins leader, 3-time ERA leader, pitched 2 no-hitters, one of which was a perfect game. He was nicknamed the Emperor. Like I said, he's the only pitcher in Japanese history to win 400 games, and this is rumor more than fact. Although no radar gun existed, it is claimed that his fastball reached 110 miles an hour in his prime. Now, how realistic that is, I'm not sure, but regardless, he clearly pitched very fast. So that's kind of cool. His records that he has the record most complete games, 365, most wins, 400. I mean, look at that. 365 complete games. I mean, talk about a rubber arm. That's insane. So he had 400 wins, which is a record, 298 losses, which is a record, 4,490 strikeouts, which is a record, 5,526 and 2/3 innings pitched, which is a record, 1,808 walks. His 82 shutouts are only one behind the leader, which is another legendary pitcher, Victor Starfin. And I definitely want to pick up a card of his in the future. He played a little earlier than this, like the 40s and the 50s, I think even the 30s. Didn't get one of his in this little lot that I picked up, but I'll certainly be looking to pick up a Victor Starfin in the near future. All right, so that's my Masaichi Canada. Moving on to the next one. This is another Hall of Famer, Minoru Murayama. He had a win-loss record of 222 wins, 147 losses, 2.09 ERA, 2,271 strikeouts. He was a three-time Eiji Sawamura Award winner, 59, 65, and 66. He was the Central League MVP in 62. Two times he led the league in wins in 65 and 66. He was the ERA leader three times, 59, 62, and 70. Two times he led the league in strikeouts, 65 and 66. 1 year he had the best winning percentage, 1970. And three times he was awarded the Best Nine Award, 62, 65, and 66. So he was certainly one of the better pitchers to play during that era. Moving on to the next one. This is Takaishi Kuwata. And he had a 12-year career. He batted .264 with 223 home runs, 674 RBIs, 1,112 hits. So it seems like he had a pretty solid career. All right, moving on to the next one. I love this red background. Just stands out just like this one above. I like that. And that is Jun Hokota. And he played 14 years, batted .261 with 80 home runs, 364 RBIs, and 993 hits. Okay. Now, there are three players on this sheet that, as much as I tried to research, because there are no identifying marks on either the front or the back of this sheet. And so there were three players on this sheet that I wasn't able to identify. And I actually contacted a couple people and asked if they might know who this is, and they did not. And even the trading card database has these players listed as unknown players. So I don't think they're lost to time. I think the information is somewhere. I just haven't been able to find it yet. But this next picture is one of those unknown players. So I don't know who this is. If you're watching this video and you know who this individual is, I'd appreciate it if you left that information in the comments, because I would certainly like to know who that is. All right, moving on to the next one. This one right here. This is Kazuhiko Sakazaki. And he was a three-time All-Star. He played 12 years, batted .249 with 74 home runs, 387 RBIs, and 755 hits. So he was a pretty decent player. This next one right here, this is also an unknown player. So I don't know who that is. This next one right here, this is a Hall of Famer. This is Motoshi Fujita. And he had a win-loss record of 119 wins and 88 losses. He had a 2.20 ERA with 924 strikeouts. He won the Rookie of the Year in 1957. He was a two-time Central League MVP in 58 and 59. He was a two-time Japan Series champion in 61 and 63. And as a manager, he was a two-time Matsutaro Shiriki Award winner. He won in 81 and 89. And he was also a two-time Japan Series champion as a manager in 81 and 89. All right, this last card right here. Even people that are very unfamiliar with Japanese baseball will probably know this individual's name. This is Sadaharu Oh. Sadaharu Oh is a Hall of Famer, and he has the world record for most home runs in the history of baseball. 868 home runs. Barry Bonds has the Major League record with 762. Or if you discount that because of steroids, then Hank Aaron has the record with 755. Sadaharu Oh has 868 home runs. He had a lifetime batting average of .301. As I said, 868 home runs, 2,170 RBIs, 2,786 hits. He was an 11-time Japan Series champion, teaming up with Nagashima right here, forming an incredible 1-2 punch. And like I said, he was an 11-time Japan Series champion, 61, 63, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, and 73. He won 2 more as a manager in 1999 and 2003. He was a 9-time Central League MVP, 64, 65, 67, 69, 70, 73, 74, 76, and 77. He was a 2-time Japanese Triple Crown winner in 73 and 74. He was a 3-time Japan Professional Sport Grand Prize winner, 74, 76, and 77. He holds the world record with 868 home runs. He has the Japanese record with 1,079 OPS. He has 2,170 RBIs, which is a Japanese record. He has the record for slugging percentage, 634, which is a Japanese record. The base on balls is also a Japanese record with 2,390. Absolute legend. And I have certainly been looking to pick up a Sadaharu O card for a number of months, and very happy that he is on this sheet. Not once, but twice. And I'll get to this one here in a minute. But moving on to row 3, we have this individual right here. And this is Akio Sayonji. Akio Sayonji. He played 14 years, 253 batting average, 117 home runs, 445 RBIs, 1,144 hits. So he was a fairly decent player. This right here is the other unknown player. This is the third unknown player, so I do not know who this is. So as with the other two, if you know who this is, please leave a comment. I would really appreciate that. All right, moving on to the next one. This is Toshio Naka. He played 18 years. He was a 6-time All-Star, had a 277 batting average with 139 home runs, 541 RBIs, 1,820 hits, and he was the Central League batting champ in 1967 with a batting average of 343. All right, moving on to this one right here. And this is Kingo Moto Yoshiki. Yeah, I think that's how you say it. 12 years. Batted .227 with 13 home runs, 179 RBIs, 785 hits, 154 stolen bases. All right, this next player is not a Hall of Famer, but he seems to be a very good player. And this is Kazuhiko Kondo. He had a 16-year career. He batted .286 with 109 home runs, 483 RBIs, 1,736 hits, 159 stolen bases. He was a 9-time All-Star and a 7-time winner of the Best 9 award. And he finished second in the batting race 4 times, including 3 in a row, 1960, 61, 62, and then also 67. And he was nicknamed the balance scale because of his unusual batting stance. And you can kind of see that right here. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. And next, this is the other Sadaharu O card. Love that green background. That's awesome. In fact, let me get you a better look at that. And sorry, I probably should have done that on that other one. There's Sadaharu O right there. Right there on the end. All right. Very happy to have those 2 Sadaharu O cards in my collection. All right. Moving on to the next one. Oh, got to turn the page. This is another Hall of Famer. Yatsumitsu Toyota. He batted .277 with 263 home runs, 888 RBIs. He had 1,699 hits. He was the Pacific League Rookie of the Year in 1953. He was a three-time Japan Series champion in 56, 57, and 58, so back-to-back-to-back. 6 times he was a Best Nine award winner, and he was the Pacific League batting champ in 1956. So that's Yasumitsu Toyota. All right, moving on to the next one. This is another Hall of Famer. This is Yoshio Yoshida, and he had a career batting average of .267 with 66 home runs, 434 RBIs, 1,864 hits, and he won the Best Nine award 9 times. All right, moving on. This is Katsumi Fujimoto, and he played 12 years. He had a .254 batting average with 113 home runs, 420 RBIs, and 756 hits. Next, we have Shoichi Ono, who had a 15-year career. He had a win-loss record of 184 wins and 55 losses. He had a .280 ERA with 2,244 strikeouts. He was also a 6-time All-Star. This last one right here is another Hall of Famer. This is Tokuji Ida, I-I-D-A. And like I said, he was a Hall of Famer. He batted .284 with 183 home runs, 969 RBIs, 1,978 hits, 390 stolen bases. He was the Pacific League MVP in 1955. 5 times he won the Best Nine award, and he had the MPB record for most games played in a season with 154. He also played in 1,246 consecutive games. So he was kind of like the Iron Horse, the Iron Man of Japanese baseball. All right, moving on to these two who are the same individual, as you can see the close-up and then further away. And this is another legend. He's probably in the top 3 historically greatest players in Japanese baseball. Certainly behind Sadaharu Oh, but probably Shigeo Nagashima as well. And then this individual right here, which is Katsuya Nomura, I think. He played 26 years, had a .277 batting average with 657 home runs, 1,988 RBIs, 2,901 hits. He was also a manager. He had 1,565 wins, 1,563 losses, with 76 ties. So he had a winning record, not by much, but yeah. He was a 5-time PL MVP in 61, 63, 65, 66, and 73. He was a 2-time Japan Series champion in 59 and 64. He won the MPB Triple Crown in 65. 9-time PL home run leader in 1957 and then 61 through 68. He was a 7-time PL RBI leader, 62 through 67 in 1972. 19 times he was awarded the Best Nine award. He was a 2-time All-Star Series MVP in 1972 and 77. As a manager, he was a 3-time Japan Series champion in 93, 95, and 97. He won the Matsutaro Shoriki Award in 1993, and he's second all-time in home runs with 657, RBIs 1,988, hits 2,901, and games 3,017. So certainly one of the greatest players in the history of Japanese baseball. All right, moving on to the next one. This is also a repeat. This is Katsuya Nomura. And let me see if I can find the other one. Oh, no, sorry. Never mind. That's Katsuya Nomura. I got thrown off. All right, so this one right here is Noboru Akiyama, who is a Hall of Famer. And he played 12 years. He had a win-loss record of 193 and 71 losses. He had a 2.60 ERA, 1,896 strikeouts. He was the Central League Rookie of the Year in 1956 and the Central League MVP in 1960. So he was certainly a fantastic player. All right, moving on to the next one. This is Toru Mori. He had an 11-year career, batted .251 with 189 home runs, 585 RBIs, 971 hits. He was a 5-time All-Star. He was the Central League home run leader in 1959, the Central League RBI leader in 1959. He was a 3-time Central League Best 9 award winner. So that's Toru Mori. All right, next. This is another Hall of Famer right here. This is Tatsuro Hiruka. And he had a 13-year career. He batted .240 with 117 home runs, 465 RBIs, 1,081 hits, 115 stolen bases. He was the Central League Rookie of the Year in 1954. He was a 5-time Japan Series champion in 55, 61, 63, 65, and 66. One time he was awarded the Best 9 award. As a manager, he was a 3-time Japan Series champion in 1978, 82, and 83. He was a 2-time Matsutaro Shoriki Award winner in 78 and 82. And he had a lifetime manager record of 498 wins, 406 losses, and 62 ties. Okay. Next. This right here is Masahiro Nakata. And he had a 12-year career, batted .235 with 154 home runs, 526 RBIs, and 985 hits. The next one is just a faraway shot of Toru Mori, who you see right here. And again, they kind of give you the different sort of tinting, but it's pretty much the same photo. All right, moving on to the next one. This is Kenjiro Tamiya. He's a Hall of Famer. And he had a .298 batting average with 105 home runs, 591 RBIs, 1,415 hits, 190 stolen bases. He won the Best 9 award 5 times. He won the Fighting Spirit Award in 1960, which is basically the MVP of the losing team in the Japan Series. And he was a 7-time All-Star. So that's this guy right here, Kenjiro Tamiya. All right, moving on to the next one. This is Toshitaki Nakayama. He had an 11-year career with a win-loss record of 83 wins, 90 losses. He had a .255 ERA with 1,144 strikeouts. Moving on to the next one. This is Morimichi Iwashita. I think that might be how you say it. He had a 9-year career. He batted .246 with 9 home runs, 94 RBIs, and 277 hits. Moving on to the last card of this row. This is Shoichi Busujima, who had an 18-year career, .277 batting average with 122 home runs, 688 RBIs, 1,977 hits, 106 triples, which are second all-time, with 191 stolen bases, and he was an 8-time All-Star. So he wasn't a Hall of Famer, but he was certainly a very good player, and apparently a speedy player at that, with his being second all-time in triples. All right, moving on to the last row. This right here is a repeat. This is Kazuhiko Kondo. And let me see if I can find, I believe this is Kazuhiko Kondo right here. And as you can see, it's the same with the close-up and then the further away photo with the different backgrounds, the different tints. All right, moving on. This is also a repeat. This is Yasumitsu Toyota, and this is also a Hall of Famer. Let me see if I can find him. This is him right here. So kind of both sides of the Sadaharu O. You have the repeats. But he is a Hall of Famer, so if you want to give me 2 cards on the same sheet of a Hall of Famer, I'm okay with that for sure. All right, moving on to the next. This is Toshio Naka, and this is also a repeat. Let me see if I can find the other one. This one right here. Got the close-up and the further away. Okay, next we have another Hall of Famer. This right here is Futoshi Nakanishi. Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. He batted .307 with 244 home runs, 785 RBIs, 1,262 hits. He was the Pacific League Rookie of the Year in 1952. He was the Pacific League MVP in 1956. 7 times he won the Best 9 award, and he won 3 Japan Series championships in 56, 57, and 58. So that is Futoshi Nakanishi. All right, next we have Yoshio Bison, who had an 11-year career, win-loss record of 115 wins, 149 losses. He did have a 2.96 ERA with 835 strikeouts, and he was a 2-time All-Star. Okay, this next one is Takao Katsurago. I'm almost 100% certain I butchered that. He had a 16-year career, 278 batting average with 174 home runs, 860 RBIs, 1,745 hits, and he was a 5-time All-Star. Next, we have Kiyoshi Doi, who had a 13-year career. He had a 215 batting average with 23 home runs, 176 RBIs, 508 hits, and he was a 7-time All-Star despite multiple times batting below the Mendoza line of 200. So I don't know if it was a weak position or if he was just, popular or something. I don't know. But, 7-time All-Star. All right, next we have right here. This is a different photo, but this is the same as number 1. And it is a Hall of Famer. A very good player at that. And that's Kazuhisa Inao. And so, very happy that 2 of his cards are on this sheet. All right, next we have Teruyuki Takakura, who is not a Hall of Famer but did have a long career, 18 years, batted .276 with 168 home runs, 640 RBIs, 1,611 hits, 178 stolen bases. He was a 9-time All-Star and a 3-time Best 9 award winner. This next one, this is Chico Barbone from Cuba. And he had an 11-year career, batted .241 with 33 home runs, 260 RBIs, 1,123 hits, and 308 stolen bases. He was the first Latin American star in Nippon Pro Baseball. I think that's how you say it. He was a 1-time Best 9 award winner. He was a 2-time All-Star and a 3-time stolen base leader. Chico Barbone. And the last card on the sheet is a Hall of Famer. This is Kazuhiro Yamauchi. And he had a 19-year career, batted .295 with 396 home runs, 1,286 RBIs, 2,271 hits, 118 stolen bases. He was a 16-time All-Star, a 10-time Best Nine Award winner, 4-time RBI leader. He was the Pacific League MVP in 1960. He was the first Japanese professional baseball player to reach 300 home runs. And he was also a one-time batting average leader. So let me go ahead and zoom out, show you the whole sheet. All right, so I hope you enjoyed seeing that. That was the JBR 4 1960 Doyusha Color 4-in-1 bromides. And so I don't know how they would do it with 5 rows, but from what I've seen, it looks like they kind of cut it like this and have like the sheets like this. At least the ones that I've seen that are cut. And they also had a set that was like a black and white 4-in-1 that looked like they had different photographs, but from the same year, 1960 Doyusha. So I haven't seen a full sheet of that, but I would certainly like to see what that is and what players are on that. But anyway, I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. Spine Ticks, appreciate you coming. And hope you enjoyed this. And until next week, I hope everybody has a great week. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.